early entrepreneurs would benefit the most with the era of AI, because AI is still at a very early stage in terms of user adoption. We develop models with the philosophy that smaller parameter models should run about similar kind of caliber, with much faster in terms of token per second, and a much more cost efficient. The two major directions of the year is one, coding. Coding, as mentioned, is potentially the first category to get into API. The other one is video generation.
What one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today? Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show. I'm your host, Ethan Cassiotis, and today I have a powerful guest. His name is Bruce Yang, and he has spent his career building at the edge of major technology shifts, from the early social and platform era to today's race to shape AI. Born in China, educated in Singapore and at UC Berkeley, and now leading one of Singapore's leading homegrown AI companies. He brings a genuinely international perspective to a field too often framed around just a few power centers. And that perspective now drives Agnes AI, the company he founded to make advanced AI more accessible, affordable, and usable far beyond the usual circles of technical insiders and heavily funded markets. And under his leadership, the company has grown to nearly 10 million users globally and nearly 20 million in ARR, with products spanning search, productivity, and multimodal generation. And the combination of performance, cost discipline, and real-world usability is central to Bruce's belief that AI infrastructure should be neutral, flexible, and built for broad adoption. Welcome, Bruce. Thank you for being on the Business Growth Show.
Thank you very much, Ethan. Very interesting. I really like your show. I hope to share more during this episode.
Yeah, awesome, mate. It's great to have you here. I'm sure it's going to be very impactful and very a topical thing, right? AI is on everyone's, lips at the moment and wanting to know more, and it's moving very fast. So it's awesome in the space that you're in. So I'm really looking forward to this episode, as well as I'm sure everybody else that's listening now. So you are a successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, just introduce yourself by telling us a little bit more about you and your journey.
Sounds good. So as I mentioned, I'm born in China, became a scholar under the scholarship from Ministry of Education to study in Singapore at high school. After that, I've been studying at UC Berkeley undergrad and had been working in the Valley over a couple of years. And during the COVID, actually before the COVID, I came back to Singapore to pursue my PhD. And during the time of PhD, it's a very exciting time. Landscape changes with OpenAI, Anthropic, and we are also as a lab for my PhD. We also have a lab which is our AI. So my advisor and I, a couple of other researchers, work together to come up with our own foundation model and our own applications. And this altogether is from end of 2024 to up until now, about 1.5 years, has been a very exciting journey. So as I mentioned, the app, our Agnes app, is born for about 8 months from today, and the entire registered user is over 10 million. And our Agnes 2.0 series of models, like text model, image model, and video model, they all rank top 10 on global ranking, global well-known rankings. And we provide them for free, just starting from last week. And up until now, the adoption is pretty crazy. Every day we have close to 200B token used every single day, which is a big amount. If you consider OpenRouter only have like daily token usage is only about 40. So we are like 1 to the 20 to the entire OpenRouter for our model, which is only launched for 1 week from today. Yeah, so this is a brief history of what Agnes is.
Yeah, awesome, mate. What a experience there, and well done for doing the PhD as well. I went back to do an MBA, but that's a whole nother thing. And then obviously you got together with some great minds, and you're building this now, and it's moving fast. So it's great how in that 8 months, right, that you built this, and now you're doing that. So I think that's really important. And just let's start simple, right, for now, because everyone, ChatGPT, OpenAI came out, right? And then, everyone knows Claude now, which is Anthropic for the people that don't know, that is running Claude, right? That's sort of the new thing now, right? As we're recording this, it's like ChatGPT is old, Claude is new, right? That's what a lot of people, as the majority, know of what's going on. So just tell us, I guess, a bit of the similarities and the differences, right, of what you guys are doing over there.
Sounds good. So, as you mentioned, most people know about ChatGPT. Part of the world know about Anthropic Cloud, but the entire globe is still very has very limited knowledge about what AI is going on beside beside OpenAI and Anthropic, and maybe Google. The reality is, we are able to build a similar kind of model spanning text, image, and video. And we're able to achieve something like what OpenAI, what GPT and Cloud is able to achieve with only about 1/10 of the cost. Well, in terms of performance, I do think that we're slightly lagging behind, but the gap is not that far. Maybe one generation behind, which is less than one quarter time. But everything else, we're able to catch up with all kind of tasks running agentic workflows, the coding. So we do believe that beside US and China, there should also be some other model companies out there in the world, and we're one of the kind, one of these kinds, and we are able to also rank pretty high as top 10 in the global rankings. So that give us confidence to compete, to swim together with the other giant players, while with our cost advantage, we are able to cover a lot of emerging countries, less developed countries, with a offering of the package, which is also at about 1/10 or even lower to the other players out there.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And to get there into the top 10, obviously at a lot less cost, it's massive, right? Because you're on point with them, even if it's just slightly behind, but AI is moving fast anyway. So that's easy fix there. And then obviously with the 1/10 the cost is massive of what they can do. So what obviously, like, how is this being built, right? Because there's a lot of usual power centers, like how
Yeah.
this is moving forward. So how are you sort of building this? Yeah.
So, one thing which we have in mind at the beginning of the model training is how we are able to build or train our models with constrained amount of training powers. So that's why we develop models with a philosophy that smaller parameter models should run about similar kind of caliber with much faster in terms of token per second, and a much more cost efficient. So we have a team of engineers in both Singapore and China, researchers up to 100 working on different models, text, image, and video. And besides these three teams, there's another separate horizontal team which works on the optimization on the speed and optimization on the GPU CUDA level. So putting all them together, we're working extremely hard to as I mentioned, catch up with SOTA, the best models in the world, but with a separate constraint, which is cost, which is the amount of training power, the amount of parameters supported for our models. So putting all them together, we're able to have a team of very talented researchers up until 100 working on different components and building model companies like Agnes, what we are doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. I love that. Um, Obviously you said you've put it up for free now for like a week, right? And that's blowing up with how many people are signing up to it. So that's exciting
Right.
from a user and everything perspective. I guess one thing that I hear a lot from my side, right? Like, and people are a little bit skeptical, right? Because there was the thing around you have free things, how is the information, the privacy side of things versus, the paid versions and stuff like that. So do you want to just highlight that a little bit to everybody of how that's working with your platform?
Of course. So there's a stereotypical, conceptual kind of idea that if you have a lower cost or free, the category is not good enough. But in terms of our product, in terms of our models, we do not really have any kind of compromise on our capabilities of our models. So we do train with a lot of effort. We do use a lot of data. The part of data is from online benchmarks. Another part maybe is from our desensitized customer data. But we use that for our training iterations on the models. And it's not like some of the model companies using freemium as a kind of marketing to give like 1 month free and second month subscription. But we give indefinite amount of free time, which is at least 1 year and beyond. So we do believe that free models is a best way to lower the barrier of access to AI. And we want to get as many users using our product as possible. And despite we have a limit in terms of requests per minute, the limit itself is at a very high threshold, like 20 requests per minute, which is always big enough for all kind of individual developers. But for enterprise solutions, they probably don't find this enough. So they're going to contact us to increase the request per minute, and this is our pay users. I understand that for a lot of enterprise solutions, they want to start with free to do some POCs, try out your APIs first before they spend money. So we will give the kind of access which is good enough for their POC, but not good enough for their a global rollout. Like if you have a 10,000 of users every day to use our product on stop, that won't be enough. So this is a strategy which we have to give a more bandwidth for individual developers, but set a limit for enterprise solutions.
Yeah, nice. And I can see the benefit like with enterprise a lot, right? Because if you're 1/10 of the cost, then if they've got a lot of users on the platform, it's going to be a lot cheaper, right? As well to run. If you got hundreds of staff, thousands of staff, it adds up, right? After a period of time. So yeah, I see massive benefit in that, which is awesome, right? Because I think go.
What I really want to stress is, when I say we are 1/10, we're actually about 1/10 of the models from China, like the ones like DeepSeek or Kimi. We are about 1 to the 100 of the models from US, like OpenAI or Anthropic. We're 1 to the 100. And even for the image and video models, we are also close to 1 to the 50 or 1 to the 100. So we are running at a super efficient manner. That's why we're able to provide everything for free. That's the first time I tell the public that we are at about 1/10, 1/20th, 1/50th, 1/100th. People would question whether this is possible or not. But if we do provide them for free, and we still have the bandwidth to hosting a large volume of token per day, you feel that okay, if they're not able to provide the service in a very efficient way, they're going to spend a whole lot of money. The amount which we provide per day for token usage and image and video, if you use ChatGPT, it's going to be around $1 million every single day. And we're able to lower that to 1 to the 100. And that way we are not even spending that much of money every single day. And we can give access to a lot of users who do not have access to AI, as a volume which we provide for free. That actually rings a bell to our vision of AI accessibility and AI parity.
Yeah, that's awesome. One to the hundredth, far out. Definitely massive for yeah, what you can do there. And I'm sure they're probably looking over their shoulder going, crap, look what's being created over here. And there's going to be some disruption. So I guess that's getting yourself out there as you're growing fast now, which is awesome. So I guess, you know, how does it like, because I think a lot of people think they don't understand what it's like to build something. And I think in the AI space, it's like the most challenging because it's moving
Yeah,
so fast and you've got to move
right.
very quickly. Otherwise, you can sort of be left behind. So, do you want to talk a little bit about the building of that right now for anyone that's looking to build something in software or even especially AI, even if it's a small thing that they're looking to build? Yeah, what does that look like?
So for sure, I totally agree with you. The entire landscape of AI is moving extremely fast. The product which we using one quarter away is already vanishing, and a lot of architecture framework harness they're come and go very fast. So I do believe that if you really want to build a product, you have to start early. You have to gain the kind of traction as early as possible, and you have to evolve together with the entire landscape, entire momentum. So give an example myself. So when we first come up with our app, it's like productivity driven, a PC and a mobile, solution, just like maybe similar to that of Manus. Manus was pretty popular last year, but very soon we realized that all the model companies are eating the pie of the productivity applications. So we have to transition into a more model focused and provide APIs, because APIs are the place which we see a huge amount of retention, a high retention. Application companies, the second day retention sometimes goes to 20% or below. But for APIs, for the APIs which we provide, the second day retention is 60% above. And we also see that a lot of new products like Codex Cloud Code, which is a coding harness, become so popular this year. The entire ARR annual revenue of Anthropic is 5 times higher, starting from the first day of the year. So within the last 5 months, they are growing for 5 times. So this is pretty crazy, right? So we think that there's some momentum, some consensus which is building in the AI world, and some of the products are doomed to be successful. Some other ones will vanish somewhere in the history of AI development. And coding harness is something which we definitely see a huge potential of this year. It could be one of the categories of AI which achieve AGI, the first in the world. So we do spend a lot of time trying to navigate in this maze of AI and find the best part, find the best application with our capabilities. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, awesome. I love that. So just let's just talk a little bit about APIs now quickly, right? So for those people that are very unique, this is how software systems, the more beginners connect to each other, right? To keep it for layman's terms there. So because a lot of software platforms have like built-in APIs to certain things, and then you can obviously manually, right, connect the APIs and stuff with webhooks and workflows or whatever like that. So um is it just more of an open API that you guys are doing? Are there already sort of connections there? How have you sort of done the APIs at this point?
So it's like an open API, and it can be very well connected to Cloud Code, Codex, OpenClaw, or Hermes, all this kind of harness. Harness is an idea which is pretty new to the world, and I think that the reason it becomes so popular is also due to the introduction of OpenClaw. And OpenClaw, with the introduction of OpenClaw, Hermes, Codex, Cloud Code, people start to realize that tokens has been a very token usage has been a huge thing. A lot of people do not really have the kind of awareness last year, because under a subscription of $20, it's pretty sufficient for you to use, for your everyday usage. But with harness product like OpenClaw or like Hermes, people start to feel that the tokens are not enough, because with this product, you're able to run your agent autonomously for the night, a couple of hours without stop. And if you are running with OpenAI or Anthropic API, it would be a huge bill day by day, right? So we think that that's a huge opportunity for us because we're able to lower the cost of the APIs plugging to the agent products like plugging into Codex, plugging into Cloud Code, plugging Cursor to OpenClaw or Hermes. By using our API, we're able to lower the cost by a lot. Actually, for now, it's free. So they are able to run a lot of things at their spare time and trying to be creative and try out a lot of new things without a lot of burden on the cost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I think the automations, the workflow side is where I think a lot of businesses are getting, in the immediate term, you can see it, right? It's like, oh, this task took someone 2 hours to do. We can do it in less than 10 minutes now, right? Using that type of thing there. So you guys are providing the grunt, I guess, behind the other platforms that are creating the automations, basically.
That's
There, that
right.
would be the simple
That's
way.
right.
Yeah, put it there. Yeah,
That's right.
cool.
That's the simple way.
Awesome. Imagine having it's like going from a petrol car to an electric car, right? It's like, hey, we don't need the petrol anymore. It's a lot cheaper, especially if you got solar panels and stuff like that on your house where you're getting it like that. That's the way I would liken it to of what you're creating now. So a lot easier to drive, and you can drive more without extra cost. So that's cool. I think I think obviously, like I have an AI implementation business. People need to come in and understand what those are. But if you can help people and then get the right technology like yours on board, then as you scale, it's very cost efficient to do that. So that's awesome. Let's talk a bit about the coding side now, right? Because I see a lot of like vibe coding happening now. You talked about maybe achieving AGI, and whether it's people think about Claude Code as the example. There's things like Lovable out there. What are you seeing in that space with what you guys are doing or what you're connecting to and things like that to create applications there to really make a difference? Yeah.
So I think there's a transition of the paradigm of coding, even in terms of vibe coding. Last year when we talk about vibe coding, it's a lot about auto completion of the code structure of the page by cursor or lovable. But starting with this year, people have changed the idea about vibe coding. It's a lot about autonomous entire automation of the code structure, the code base. So for example, engineers from my team, so they're using Codex and Cloud Code to write our code base, and the engineers spend like 10% of time trying to get aligned with the agents. The agents, once they get aligned, understand what they're trying to do, they will start to build everything starting from scratch, or they might look into the old code base and do the migration. Entire process will take a couple hours, and normally the engineers will be equipped with a couple of instances of Codex or Cloud Code. That means it's like a person with 10 AI agents working together for over 10 hours, something like that. And human just need to give some of the feedback in some of the checkpoints. Our API is achieving similar things. And we are trying to come up with our own coding harness, which is similar to that of Codex and Cloud Code, which will be released next month. But in general, I think this is a kind of idea which future vibe coding is moving towards. And if you're looking back from that point of view, cursor or lovable is like more like intermediary product, which is transitioning from the traditional coding to the real vibe coding. Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I in my business coaching mentoring clients, I say, hey, if for people that are less technical, I say have a bit of a go on Lovable, because you just put a prompt in and it'll create something simple. It's not going to create something really robust, but you can create a simple thing, right? That you might want. But I think it's very powerful, right? It's like thinking outside the box now. It's like, imagine you had clients and they had to give you information, all this other stuff. What if you could create an application that did all this automatically, right? And it's like you could save so much time and the amount of scale you could have at a business by, it doesn't have to be like an application that runs your whole business. That's great, but that'll take a while potentially to build. But if you can go, hey,
That's
this
right.
little part here, what if I could create an application that does a lot of this stuff here? And then you could create a few of these, all of a sudden, you're in a very different position. Yeah, coming from there.
That's true. That's true. That's the idea about vibe coding. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. I love you coming up with your own as well platform, because that'll obviously integrate a lot better now with what you're doing in the system, so they won't have to go somewhere else. They can just have
Yeah.
a one-stop shop. Yeah.
That actually anchors your point about, build something up from scratch without hiring a team of engineers. But if you use our product, it could potentially be 1 to 100 of the cost of using other product like Lovable, and you're able to build a lot of products from the beginning and do an A/B test, right? If you don't have idea of what product to make, you can use vibe coding to try out all your ideas and select the best one from it, and without worry about the token usage.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's like, you go, it's all about ideating, right? And then you got to adjust it as you go with
That's
feedback. And
right.
then you got to get to the MVP, the minimum viable product actually works. And then when you get to that point, as you know now, with all the more feedback, you got to keep doing it, right? So it costs a lot. And I think really, like, if I'm relatively technical, right? Like, I don't code, right, but I understand software, so I'm probably on the more advanced scale of a normal person, let's say, right, that doesn't code. But if there was somebody that was less technical, let's say, even in various areas, the way I think about this, I'd like to know your thoughts, is we could probably do a decent amount ourselves, but then at some point, if we're building something decent here with the coding side, is we probably just
Yeah.
want to have like one software developer or something that's in our team that's sort of
Right.
overseeing it. Would that be the right sort of way of thinking about it here?
Yes, but yes and no. I think it depends on what kind of system you are building. If you're building something which is extremely complicated, you probably need an engineer to look into the architecture to make sure that the AI agent is not breaking things. And you probably need an engineer to do more of the human in the loop process, which is like alignment between agents and human. And this is more on the complicated side of spectrum, which you are talking about a number of agents building very complicated systems. But if you're talking about just build a website with your own backend and trying to sell on the e-commerce, build a yourself a personal page, or whatever kind of easy kind of websites, I don't think you need an engineer to look into it. Right now, the AI is extremely smart to understand about human language, and the agent is autonomous enough to go through the process and catch the errors and replan the development of the website without human involvement. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love that. One thing I'm talking about with my clients is around like building your own knowledge management system, within your business, and sort of, creating your own ecosystem, let's call it, right? So you don't have to be like, oh crap, everything's in ChatGPT or Claude or something, right? You sort of create your own. So are you guys assisting with that if someone wants to build their own system with the APIs and things like that with what you're doing?
Yeah, that's something which we definitely can support because at the foundation of all the AI system is going to be API, like how you connect with ChatGPT or connect with cloud. We provide a similar kind of system with APIs, with support of maybe virtual machines, some of the boilerplate foundation level infrastructure. Um, and we do have a lot of we do also provide a harness level support like memory management, like agentic workflows. But most of this is can be self-served unless it's a big project. It needs an on-prem deployment. And it needs our forward deployment engineers. Otherwise, most of work should be straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, awesome. It's great to hear. Because I'm always looking at how we yeah, you create your own, right? It's like, your own ecosystem, your own IP within a business. How do we leverage that, right? To be even more efficient in what we do. So that's awesome. Yeah, I think the big one out there, that's on everyone's thoughts is around like privacy and trust, right? In
Yeah.
what we're doing here. So how can, everyone out there, if they're looking at Agnes AI, to you guys be one of the most trusted, company like that? What can you say to people that are a bit skeptical or whatever there?
Understand, in terms of AI, nothing is totally deterministic. It's like a black box. It's very difficult to know where the decision is made, and because of layers, hidden layers of the deep, network, and the attention mechanism is very difficult at this stage to have a determinist answer about the transparency about the trust even from ChatGPT and Anthropic. But we try to have the kind of alignment, which means um, we want to have some kind of transparency in the process of providing our solutions by turning on a couple of checks. Like for example, there's a check for not safe for work. For some of the use cases, they will be extremely strict. And for some of the entertainment, it's less strict. We do have the kind of levels for our users to determine the standard or the level of comfort in their use cases. So that's how we try to make it more reliable, more trustworthy. The other one which we try to do is because we are a model company ourselves, and we are willing to deploy the model into our customer server, it will be much more manageable and controllable if it's on their own server, right? Otherwise, you never know your prompt goes where. It could be anywhere in the world and could go to any server. It could go into any of the models without customer knowledge. And this is something which is which very few companies are able to provide, especially if they're not a model company. So we want to provide the kind of flexibility and the kind of controllability to our larger enterprise solution customers to give the option of deploy our model to their own server, so that they know exactly where their prompts goes to. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I think it's important, right? As these, businesses are growing and like you said, want to control where things are going. So it's great that you guys are building that into the process. Um, Obviously I was moving very fast, right? I'd like to know where you think it's going, right? It's always a little bit of a question like this. Obviously the coding side you were talking about, the that you're building in and people creating stuff, the workflow side of things. What do you think now? Because I guess it's yeah, where are you putting your focus, or where do you think it's going to go? That it's or also where do you think people should be focusing on that are using AI as well? As they're maybe earlier in their journeys.
Yeah, so definitely I think the two major directions of the year is one, coding. Coding, as mentioned, is potentially the first category to get into API. The other one is video generation, because a lot of commercial videos, commercial creatives, image and video is automated by AI, and a lot of films, especially some of the micro dramas in China, is all automated by AI. So we see these two as two huge directions of growth in AI for this year. Probably initiated from Silicon Valley and China, but it will soon be followed elsewhere in the world. And this, in general, I think our company follow very well with direction of the trend, because we want to serve our customers with the highest requirement, and these two are going to be our focus. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think coding's big, but I like the video part because I think it can definitely be improved, right? Like it's getting there with what things are happening, but there's always I saw the stats. It was like AI computing is doubling every 7 months, I think. That's what they said, right? So it's like crazy, right? It's like, that's how fast it's moving. So even if you think the video's not that good right now, make sure you're staying on top of it and you're changing things and having fun with it, because you can use it a lot in business in a lot of different ways. So from that side. So I love that area. I'll definitely be focusing more on those myself and with my clients. Let's talk a bit about I guess investors now, right? Because I'm assuming that you've raised capital. Would that be right? In this
That
business,
way
right?
risk capital. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, cool, right? So as a lot of tech businesses need to do, right, and everything, because you need to get momentum quickly, especially now in the AI space. So
Right.
I guess, if people are out there and looking at getting investment, right?
Yeah.
How do you did you approach that situation with going like, how are we going to get somebody on board? Obviously, there could be multiple funding rounds, all these other things
Right.
that happen right in the process. So I'd like to know, from your experience there, for people that are thinking of building something and getting investment.
Yeah, so we do get investment a couple rounds in the region, and we're also in talk with new investors, like the biggest one, National Sovereign Fund. We feel that it's still at the early stage. There's a lot of things you have to educate the market, especially if you're outside of US and China. It's much more mature markets in US and China, which you have seen a lot of successful business, even the ones who already went IPO are already in the process of getting IPO'd. So we do one thing which I would really give advice is um, uh, you know uh, build something which is easier for investors to understand and gain some traction at the beginning, before start fundraising, because with AI, it's just much easier for anybody to come up with a product. If it's a product without a moat, without the kind of entry barrier, it could be very easily defeated by the bigger players. And also, the local market is going to be very important to let people have a sense of what the product is working. We do face the kind of similar kind of challenges if we tell our local investors a lot of users are outside of Singapore, like in Vietnam, in Indonesia, in Brazil. They may not have the kind of sense how this product would be like if it's outside of the region. Besides that, I think we definitely need a team. Hopefully, some researchers understand about the mechanism of AI. In general, I think because the sector is booming, there are a lot of hot money in the vertical. I do think that fundraising is not as difficult as other sectors, but still we need to get prepared before really meeting the investors. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, awesome. Well, congrats on the funding rounds and all the best with the future ones and like IPO, whatever it looks like, right, in the long term. Because as
Yeah.
much as we build something to be profitable, which you got low cost base, so that's what obviously you're working towards. It's like the exit is obviously the end point, right? On getting for your hard work and everything like that in the meantime. So yeah, so well done and all the best with keeping that process going. And yeah, I guess one quick thing I just want to ask maybe about failure, right? I think a lot of people talk about the good stuff. They don't talk about the failures as much. And there's always a lot of failures that happen, whether they're small or big, along our journey as an entrepreneur and in business. Do you want to maybe share a failure that happened whenever in your career and maybe how you overcome it, what you learned from that as well?
Well, even in my current startup, Agnes, we do have some of the failures at the beginning, especially when I try to navigate into the maze of AI as mentioned. There are a lot of it just moves so fast that somewhere in last year we don't really know where to go, especially when we try to build an app and try to compete with all the other players in the world. We see that there's some very good adoption at the beginning, but very soon we realize that the retention is not at the point at which we expected. And also we see a lot of new entrants and a lot of other players who are able to raise money a high amount than us. So I want to share this because, I think we made a good decision to, change our direction, stay away from our, in the middle of nowhere and try to find a new direction to work on within a very short period of time, like 2 to 3 months. I definitely think that in the development of AI is necessity to review your progress once for a while and try to understand the new landscape. Don't stay still with your earliest vision and try to find a way out of that because everybody is moving. Like ChatGPT, they're changing very fast. They used to be working a lot on different kind of directions, but right now they're going to focus on ChatGPT and focus on Codex. And this is some of the inspiration is coming from Cloud Code. I do think that the entire frontier of AI is still yet to be explored, and with the new players, with all the existing players trying to find the right path for us, we have to navigate and change path once for a while. And this is very helpful for our company, hopefully for the people who are listening to our podcast too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. It's don't fall too much in love with your idea at the start, basically, right? Is the market always speaks, understand what's happening, right? And pivot as you need to, as you said there, right? To make sure that, and then you double down on, what you think's your direction and the way forward. So great, love that advice as well. And mate, you shared so much gold with us here today. And as we're starting to wrap up, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
I hope that everybody can start as early as possible. Try to build something to with vibe coding, right? Build something with vibe coding and serve to the market as early as possible. I do think that the early adopters, I mean the early entrepreneurs, would benefit the most with the era of AI because AI is still at a very early stage in terms of user adoption. And if we are able to occupy a big amount of market at the early stage, it will grow very fast down the road, despite the monetary returns at the beginning is not that much. So I think with AI transformative power, anything building something real, anybody building something real at this time would benefit a lot, potentially become a huge successful businessman down the road.
Yeah, awesome. Love that. Definitely get into it, guys. I'll be getting more into the vibe coding, make it happen with the coding and use Agnes AI as well to help you with that process to make it a lot cheaper and get something onto the market
Right.
as quickly as possible. So that's it's always a good way to doing it. So yeah, we connected through our networks. So into about your awesome journey from making impact in many companies to now being, the founder of Agnes AI and the other companies that you do together. You're an awesome guy, mate. So knowledgeable. You shared so much gold and I guess confirming things, also getting us to think about things differently and going, where should we focus? I think that was very, very beneficial today. And also doing it for 1/10 or 1/100th of the cost, right? Which is another massive thing, right? As we want to think about scalability here. So I'm already thinking about, wow, I didn't know this was the potential of that. So the scalability, I'm definitely going to be getting on board and seeing how much I can maximize it as well. And I'm sure you continue to build AI infrastructure that is neutral, flexible, and for broad adoption as well. So I'm very grateful that we connected. Look forward to partnering as well. So Bruce, how can people find you, get in contact with you, and learn more about Agnes AI and get involved?
So if you search Agnes AI on LinkedIn or on Google, you are able to find me or find our company. You can leave me a message on LinkedIn, or you can send through the contact email from our website. We're pretty responsive. So if you send me something, I should be able to get back within 1 day's time. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. We'll definitely check out website Agnes AI. Bruce is linked in there. Connect with him directly. The links will be in the show notes there. So very powerful and they're changing the game as you can see, right? On what they're doing now. So get on it fast because it moves quickly as soon as you hear from this. So mate, it's been a pleasure interviewing you. Thanks for being on the Business Growth Show.
Very much, Ethan.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Business Growth Show, where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Ethan Cassiotis, or visit my website, ethancassiotis.com. And if you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. So until next time, remember that our business grows where we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So let's create wealth and freedom together.